Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation thrives on the strength of its global community of over 80,000 passionate fans united by a shared love of professional wrestling and a commitment to making a difference. While the foundation was founded to advocate for pediatric cancer awareness and mental health support, it has grown to champion and support multiple initiatives aimed at creating meaningful change in communities worldwide. Through dynamic fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and initiatives that foster connection, the foundation supports causes that uplift individuals and families in need. From empowering children and families facing significant challenges to creating opportunities for hope, healing, and progress. The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation is dedicated to being a force for good. This connected and compassionate community continues to inspire action and drive impact, ensuring that hope and support remain at the forefront of all its efforts. Donate today and join the cause at mcchamps.org.
Race day Sunday, good afternoon, and welcome to coverage on Motorsports Mania of the 67th running of the Daytona 500, exclusively for NASCAR Cup Series racing on Motorsports Mania. I am Wesley Outland, the redneck announcer, Jacob Reeves alongside Bigglesdean Hopton, and we are ready to bring you our rendition of the great American race. Ready, Jacob? Race day, Daytona Day. There's nothing else in the world of motorsports like it.
No, absolutely, Wes Outland. There's nothing like the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, here at Daytona for the Daytona 500. I'm telling you, I mean, such a historic race. That a lot of NASCAR Hall of Famers, a lot of legends, and a lot of upset winners has happened right here. Here in the Daytona 500, so no telling who's going to win this sucker. I mean, you can look at the odds sheet, everybody, maybe this guy's going to win. This guy's going to win. It all gets thrown out the door when the green flag drops, so it's going to be a fantastic race for sure.
Something we're going to have to definitely keep an eye on is the situation with the weather. I hate to say that, but we are going to have to keep an eye on and watch it. There is a line of storms that are coming from what is now known as the Gulf of America. Ironically, President Donald Trump, the 47th president of the United States, is on location here at the Daytona International Speedway to hype up the crowd, to say some words before the start of this race. And there is weather coming from Tallahassee, Gainesville area, Jacob. There is a line of storms, and it does look like it possibly could affect the race around 2:30, 3 o'clock. Very cloudy conditions here at the racetrack. It is 82 degrees, though. It is very windy at about 1:30 o'clock. But by 2:30, 3 o'clock, Jacob, we're going to have to keep an eye on the line of storms that might come through the area and might give us a weather delay. Maybe it'll go another direction. We'll have to find out, buddy. We'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the weather, obviously, it always throws a curveball in just about any aspect of anything. Could be work, could be racing, could be anything. I mean, literally, the weather, you never know what it's going to do. So it could really throw a monkey wrench in this race here this evening and this afternoon for sure. But, you think back, with the weather issues, it's always happened for some reason right here in Daytona. You think about it, the past couple of races. Think back to some Daytona 500s, 2003. Michael Waltrip won that sucker in a rain-shortened race.
That's
Go
right.
all the way
That's
back
right.
to the famed, the big-time famed, I believe it was 2012 race. I believe that's what it was. When, that was when the Montoya deal happened, where he hit the jet dryer and everything. Well, there was rain during that day. I think it actually got pushed to a Monday. So
it was a Monday night NASCAR race, as a matter of fact. Yep.
Yeah. This place right here, I'm telling you right now, the Weather Channel hates this place right here. I think just because of how much weather can happen here.
Yeah, we're certainly ready to see what happens with Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric on the front row. You look at some of the production that's gone behind the Daytona 500 on Motorsports Mania. Where's your favorite driver? There's a look at Chris Buescher, and obviously we just saw Chase Elliott. all of these drivers scrolling across the screen, and we got a lot of cool bells and whistles along the way. Christopher Bell, could tonight be the day, or could this afternoon be the day for Christopher Bell? He'll start 20th in car 20, ironically. All these drivers getting ready to get into position for the Great American Race, the 67th running of the Daytona 500. Ready to see what happens here when these guys get on the racetrack. And again, an early start time. This race was scheduled to go green at 2:30. It actually is about to go green here in a matter of moments as they get ready for opening ceremonies, looking to drop the green flag just after 1:30. Jacob, what are some of the storylines that we're definitely going to be following? I think one that I'm going to be watching for sure. Not only Toyota on the pole for the first time ever at the 500, believe it or not, Chase Briscoe did that. The young man out of Mitchell, Indiana, and the Bass Pro Shops Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. He puts the first ever Toyota car on the front row on the pole for the Daytona 500. But I got to think about another driver who had a lot of success for a long time in Toyota, now in a Chevrolet. Could Kyle Busch, after 20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration, kind of sounds like that Earnhardt tagline right back in 98. Could we see Kyle Busch finally win, Jacob, his Great American Race today?
Well, I really hope so. I mean, I just put a bet on him a while ago, so I really hope that he can pull one and go for it. And matter of fact, I mean, I've been looking this morning at some of the odds-on favorites. I mean, obviously, this is a super speedway race, Wesley. I mean, this track right here, you never know what's going to happen. The big one, we'll talk all about that later on. I mean, you never know what can happen here at Daytona, but the odds, there was a bunch of long shots. Austin Dillon was in that long shot. He's a former Daytona 500 or former Daytona 500 winner. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that long shot. But Kyle Busch right now, you were talking about him. He is the odds-on favorite to win the Great American Race that you see right there on your screen. Number 8, Kyle Busch. I think he was plus 900 last time I looked. He has the best odds out of everybody. I believe Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, the top 4 guys right there, odds-on favorites to win here today. But certainly going to be watching for the number 8 of Kyle Busch. And honestly, feel-good story for that one. And another feel-good story, we were talking about another storyline. Justin Allgaier in the number 40 for Junior Motorsports. Dale Jr. in attendance here today at Daytona. Very first time having a cup car in a cup race, and it's in the Daytona 500, and Allgaier had to work his tail off Thursday night to get it in there. He will be racing today as well.
We can tell you right now, opening ceremonies are happening. We're having the invocation and the national anthem just taking place. Of course, the United States Air Force Band Senior Sergeants of Michael J. Hilos is going to be singing the national anthem. All of that is happening here. We do know that the 45th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is also here at the Daytona International Speedway. So he might say some words, obviously, to get everybody humped up, piped up, excited, ready for the 500. And I'm not trying to get political here on Motorsports Mania and Jacob Reeves, but if you do remember, Florida easily won out for red in the run for the president. So I've got a feeling we've got people from all over the country here for the Daytona 500. But the Floridians from the Sunshine State definitely love their Donald J. Trump.
Absolutely. I mean, and not, like you said, I mean, we're not trying to get political or nothing like that, but it certainly will be big. I mean, hell, it's the president of the United States showing up.
That's right. That's right.
To a NASCAR race. I mean, that is absolutely big right there. And, and speaking of Kyle Busch a while ago, I actually saw an interview that Kyle Busch had earlier on. I believe it was either yesterday or it was Friday, as we're actually seeing Donald J. Trump right now
there
doing
he
the
is.
salute right there with the flag and everything with the flyover. And, Kyle Busch was sitting there saying that this is going to be awesome right here. I mean, so many celebrities show up to the Daytona 500. So many people come out and be a part of NASCAR's biggest day. And, when you get the president of the United States showing up, I mean, that it's a pretty big deal. So there we saw him a minute ago. President Trump in attendance here this afternoon, getting ready for what should be a wild Daytona 500.
The command has just been given. All drivers to their cars. We'll take a break. When we return, we set the stage for the 67th running of the Daytona 500 on Motorsports Mania. Stay with us.
The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation thrives on the strength of its global community of over 80,000 passionate fans united by a shared love of professional wrestling and a commitment to making a difference. While the foundation was founded to advocate for pediatric cancer awareness and mental health support, it has grown to champion and support multiple initiatives aimed at creating meaningful change in communities worldwide. Through dynamic fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and initiatives that foster connection, the foundation supports causes that uplift individuals and families in need. From empowering children and families facing significant challenges to creating opportunities for hope, healing, and progress. The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation is dedicated to being a force for good. This connected and compassionate community continues to inspire action and drive impact, ensuring that hope and support remain at the forefront of all its efforts. Donate today and join the cause at mcchamps.org.
Here at Daytona International Speedway, the countdown clock is slowly but surely reaching zero on this Sunday afternoon in the Florida, United States. As we welcome you to coverage on Motorsports Mania, Daytona Beach is location 1, 2.5 miles. The first ever Daytona 500 held here back in 1959. Lee Petty was the winner of that race. This is the 67th edition, and for a long time before Bill France, Big Bill, built this massive 2.5 mile structure layout, it used to races on the beach of Daytona as well. Jacob, it just doesn't get any more exciting than the Daytona 500, the world center of racing, what they call it, the Super Bowl of racing, or as the late great friend, mentor, and a guy that I called many NASCAR races in the booth, Ken Squire, calls the Great American Race, and we're ready to see the 67th rendition of that in a matter of moments.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Wesley Outland. I mean, we talked about, some prestigious, some big-time winners in the field. Obviously, Denny Hamlin being one of those. Obviously, Joey Logano, he's won him a Daytona 500. Austin Cindric won the Daytona 500 in 2022. William Byron won it last year. Don't count out Jimmy Johnson. Granted, he ain't in the 48 lows like he usually was when he was at Hendrick Motorsports. but he is in the field. He knows how to get it done here at Daytona, and obviously still going to be keeping an eye on Kyle Rowdy Busch, see if he could get his very first Daytona 500 win in his 20th try.
Donald J. Trump now leading the front of the podium as everybody is getting into position and ready for this one. Now, again, as I mentioned, the weather is the biggest factor here right now that obviously NASCAR is keeping an eye on. But Jacob, I can tell you this, if they feel like that they can get it in, they're going to make every effort possible to try to get it in. And obviously this is where we're at right now with the weather situation. If we can be able to push it to an earlier start time, this is what they're doing. We're ready to see what happens. And we know that if we have to, we'll run on a Monday, Jacob. We ran on a Monday last year where William Byron won last year's Daytona 500. But you really don't want to do that. You want to race on Daytona 500 Sunday, and every effort's being made to possibly do that. But I would be remiss to say, Jacob, we are watching the weather. Hopefully it doesn't cause a problem in the race. But we also need to add this as well. If weather does interfere, halfway is the halfway mark of the race at the end of stage 2. Remember, if in the second stage, or at least 101 of 200 laps, this race, Jacob, could possibly be called because of weather.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was saying earlier. I mean, numerous or a couple of Daytona 500s has actually come down to it. I was talking about the 2003 Daytona 500. Michael Waltrip won it. It was just past halfway, and the rains fell. It was a big wreck happened off turn 4. I think Warburton got involved in it. It ended up shaking the rain from the clouds or the water from the sky, so to speak. And then, bam, I mean, there it was. There was the end of the race. The track was lost. But, we were talking about it, obviously with the 2012 rendition of the Daytona 500. It got pushed back to Monday. It went deep into the night, very deep into the night, to where I think it ended at about 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, just to be able to get the race done. So, NASCAR is going to do everything that they can to try to make sure that we get a finish, because it's like you were saying, Wesley Outland, they don't want to do it on Monday because there's been so many people that's come from all over the world, not just the country, but all over the world, to come to this race. They want to make sure everybody's got the hard-earned money, that they get their money's worth out of this right here, because a lot of money went into this, not just from NASCAR, but for everybody that's here at the racetrack to watch it. A lot of money's been went, a lot of money's been spent. They want to make sure everybody gets their money's worth.
For the first time in a long while, there will be a 41-car field for the Great American Race on this Sunday afternoon. Elio Castroneves, 4-time Indy 500 winner, 3-time IndyCar Series champion, has decided to start the race. But Jacob Reeves, no points and no purse money from the 500. The prestige of running this race without making a dime means a lot to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, big time deal for him, 4-time Indy 500 champion. And, I mean, just to be in the Daytona 500 and check this one off of a historic racing career that he has, to go ahead and put that one in his box, just to say that he has raced in the Daytona 500. And what could be kind of weird, somehow or another, starting dead last, you end up having a big old wreck. He could actually go up there and possibly have a shot to win this thing when it's all said and done. And with the likes of, A.J. Foyt, who won the Indianapolis 500, and also the Daytona 500, he could be in that, big-time group of drivers that has won the Great American Race and also the Indy 500. So something we'll have to be keeping an eye on. A lot of storylines here today for the Daytona 500.
We're about ready to get the command to fire the engines here, as it looks like Jamie Little is now talking with President Donald Trump. Obviously, remember, Donald Trump was here at Daytona back in 2020. Remember, Jacob, that was right before COVID began. It was so special for me because I was at Daytona, and I actually got my mom and dad tickets from Christmas of 2019 to go to the Daytona 500 to experience the Great American Race. And it was just an icing on the cake for my mom whenever she found out that Donald Trump was going to be there. My mom is an avid President Donald Trump fan, and that's something really cool that I'll never forget from the 2020 time that I went to the Daytona 500, got to work the Daytona 500. But to see President Trump back here again, really, really cool. Ready to see what happens here as we're mere minutes away. And I'll be honest with you, Jacob. It looks like the clouds are actually starting to part a little bit. It's getting more brighter at Daytona as we're awaiting the command to fire these engines in mere moments.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that a lot of race fans really want to see. They want to see those clouds part. They want to be able to not get any rain, not get anything, like that. They want to make sure, everybody wants this track to stay as dry as possible. That way we can go ahead and get this 200 laps, 500 miles in, as it looks like we're getting ready for the command. Anthony Mackie, Grand Marshal, fixing to call it out right here, Wes.
Anthony Mackie is about ready to give the command. Captain America, Anthony Mackie, ready to give the command. Drivers, start your engines. The engines fire up in Daytona, and we are ready to go racing here for the 67th running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. 17 Chevrolets, 11 Toyotas, 13 Fords in the field, ready to go with a 41-car field. And without further ado, Mr. Dean, it is time to introduce the starting lineup for the 67th running of the Daytona 500 here on this Sunday of 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, you see NASCAR timing and scoring in real time, and we now introduce the lineup for the 500 here for the 67th edition at the Daytona International Speedway. Starting on row number 1, the driver with the quick qualifying time, the Bass Pro Shops Toyota out of Mitchell, Indiana, Chase Briscoe. To his outside, a 2022 winner of the 500 in the Discount Tire Ford from Mooresville, North Carolina, Austin Cindric. Row number 2 will find Bubba Wallace from Mobile, Alabama, the driver that won, of course, dual number 1 on Thursday for McDonald's Toyota for 2311 Racing. And to his outside, it is Eric Jones from, of course, the Advent Health Legacy Motor Club Toyota. He'll start, of course, on the 4th position. Row number 3, last year's Daytona 500 winner from, of course, Charlotte, North Carolina. It is William Byron in the Exaltis Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And his outside for RFK Racing, the Fastenal Ford, number 17 from Prosper, Texas. It is Chris Busher. Row number 4 will find the Grizzly Nicotine Pouches Chevrolet, number 10 of Ty Dillon, starting 7th. And Chesterfield, Virginia's 3-time winner of the 500. For Joe Gibbs Racing, the National Debt Relief Toyota, number 11, Jacob, it is Denny Hamlin.
Then right behind them in row number 5, you're going to have a hometown man right there on that inside lane in the Busch Light Chevrolet with Trackhouse Racing from Florida. Watermelon Man, it's Ross Chastain starting in the 9th spot. To his outside of row number 5, you got last season's Cup Series champion for 2024, Joey Logano in a Shell Pennzoil Ford starting in 10th. Right behind them, you got Tyler Reddick in the number 45 Nasty Beast Toyota with 2311 Racing. And to his outside, you got the Take 5 oil change Duramax Ford 01 of Corey LaJoy. Right behind him, you got AJ Allmendinger in the number 16 Celsius Chevrolet starting 13th. And to his outside, you got Todd Gilliland in the number 34 Lowe's Travel Stops Ford starting in the 14th spot. Rounding out row number 8, you got Austin Dillon, the former winner in the Daytona 500 2018. To that, he's going to be in the Bass Pro Shop Winchester Chevrolet number 3 for RCR Richard Childress Racing. And to his outside, runner-up last year for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. Driver of the number 12, Menards Peak Ford, it's YRB Ryan Blaney.
Row number 9 will find Chase Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion, and the, of course, Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. And his inside for, of course, that is John Hunter Nemechek, the Dollar Tree Toyota for the Legacy Motor Club from Morrisville, North Carolina. Your top 20, row number 10, will find Justin Allgaier, driving for Junior Motorsports, the defending NASCAR Xfinity Series champion in the Traveler Whiskey Chevrolet from Riverton, Illinois, and his outside. Of course, from Norman, Oklahoma, it is Christopher Bell. And Christopher Bell, of course, he'll be driving the DeWalt Interstate Batteries Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Row number 11 in his 20th attempt of 2025, Rowdy Kyle Busch, the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet. Of course, driving out of course, Las Vegas, Nevada, ready to see what he'll do. Can he win? Finally, his 500 attempt in that number 8. To his outside, it's the Zone Chevrolet, by the way, the Zone Border Chevrolet. To his outside, it is Young Money, Kyle Larson, the Oak Grove, California driver in the number 5 Hendrick Cars Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Row number 12 will find the youngest driver in the field for the 500, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs will start out of Charlotte, North Carolina in that Monster Energy Toyota to its 23rd spot. To the outside, Riley Herbst from Las Vegas, Nevada as well. The Monster Energy Zero Sugar Toyota for 2311 Racing.
Then row 13, you got to find the 71 of Michael McDowell for Spire Motorsports, driving in the number 71 Gold Bowling Chevrolet. So he will start in the 25th spot. To his outside for Trackhouse Racing, you got SVG Shane Van Gisbergen in the WeatherTech Chevrolet, driver of the number 88. He will start in the 26th spot. Right behind him, you got Ryan Priest for RFK Racing, the number 60, BuildSubmarines.com Ford. And to his outside, in the number 51, Parts Plus, Jacobs Construction Ford. I don't own that car, folks. That's just Jacobs Construction. You got Cody Ware right there in that 28th spot. Right behind them, Wood Brothers with Josh Berry in the Motorcraft Quick Lane Ford number 21 starting 29th. To his outside, Cole Custer in the HaasTooling.com Ford number 41. And right behind them, you got a past Daytona 500 winner, RSJ, if we want to go by initials, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the Sunny D Chevrolet number 47. And to his outside in the number 4, Rush Truck Centers Ford, it's Noah Gregson.
5 more rows left as we move into row number 17. Carson Hocevar from Portage, Michigan, ready to go in the Ziegler Auto Group Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. He'll start 33rd. To his outside, of course, it is the driver of Rochester Hills, Michigan driver in the Kroger Continental Ford for RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski. Justin Haley will start on the inside of row number 8 in the 35th position out of Winamac, Indiana. The Chili's right, the Dente Chevrolet for Spire Motorsports. Into his outside, ready to go, starting in the 36th position, coming to us all the way from Monterrey, Mexico, in the Freeway Insurance Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing, it is Daniel Suarez. Row 19 will find Zane Smith, another young driver in the field from the Truck Series. From Huntington Beach, California, the Speedy Cash Ford for Front Row. To his outside, Alex Bowman from Hendrick Motorsports, the driver of the course of the number 48 machine. He'll start in that position right there in the 38th spot. From Tucson, Arizona, the Ally Chevrolet. Row number 20, starting 39th, a former winner of the 500, or actually trying to become a first-time winner of the 500 as well. He come close one time, being second to Denny Hamlin. It is Martin Truex Jr., not driving for Joe Gibbs. Nope. He is, of course, driving for Tricon Garage, the Mayetta, New Jersey native in the Bass Pro Tracker Boats Toyota. And his outside, 49-year-old Jimmy Johnson, a multi-time winner, 7-time Cup Series champion of the 500 for the Legacy Motor Club, the driver out of El Cajon, California, the Carvana Toyota. And finally, in the 41st starting position, shotgun on the field. By virtue of a provisional start, no purse money, no points, nothing except the bragging rights of running the 500, the driver of the number 41st position, Elio Castroneves, Sao Paulo, Brazil, the Wendy Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. He'll start shotgun in the 41st position. Jacob Reeves, there's the starting lineup for the 67th running of the Daytona 500.
Absolutely, and a couple of drivers did not make it through the duels on Thursday with the likes of Chandler Smith, which obviously from Talking Rock, Georgia, hopefully there's no beef with giving him the commentator's curse from Thursday night with the duels. But Chandler Smith, Anthony Alfredo, BJ McLeod, JJ Yaley wasn't able to make it through off of time or through the duels on Thursday. So pretty big little field right here. A lot of history right here in this field as it looks like the motorcade with the president of the United States.
And they're keeping him to the bottom of the apron, by the way, Jacob. Yeah. They're not letting him go on the banking. They're keeping him on the bottom of the racetrack.
Man, come on. You know, your Trump's got to be in there going, come on, let me get up there. Just let me get up there. I want to feel that 31 degrees. I want to feel it just a little bit. And he may end up telling them, just gas it up a little bit. Put a little power right here in this car. But, yeah, I mean, certainly awesome right there to see the President of the United States leading the field around. And then you got the pace cars, all the safety vehicles, and then the rest of the 41-car field working their way down the back stretch under these pace laps.
Can I just say this? And, again, we're not trying to get political in any way, but I think it's really cool that the President has now for the second time came to the Daytona 500. In addition to that, visiting the Daytona 500, he was at the Super Bowl. He was at the national championship football game of the college football playoff. There are some presidents of the past, not going to name any names, but if it didn't involve something involving them, they never showed up. They never supported. I think that it's really cool that we have a president that is a fan of NASCAR, a fan of the sport, and just proud to be around great American people like that here at the Great American Race, Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing about it right there is you see a lot of fans right there taking pictures, something that they're going to be able to show their grandkids one day that, yeah, I mean, the President of the United States, as we see a lot of families out there, you know, with their kids and everything, and, you know, just a really, really cool deal. And, you know, and I've been to Daytona, you know, about, you know, a couple times, Wesley. I've been to, you know, Daytona a couple times. Absolutely love the history, the tradition, how big this place is, you know, just how it means everything is now we're actually seeing the motorcade pull down pit road.
He's actually following the rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they got to credit them a little bit. They're going to credit the president with leading at least a couple laps, even though it's under pace right there. They're going to credit him with a couple of laps as he is waving to the crowd right here on the front stretch of the Daytona International Speedway.
Donald J. Trump in the motorcade, as they call it, the big cavalry of all the safety vehicles, and now finally the pace car has cut their pilot lights on, and they are working their way around pace laps here for the Daytona 500. Very cloudy, very overcast conditions as we approach the 2 p.m. hour. Very quickly, we're getting you settled in on Motorsports Mania and CRN for the 67th running of the Daytona 500. Very fast. We'll pause for 10 seconds of network identification. This is coverage of the Daytona 500 on Motorsports Mania. Back here at Daytona International Speedway as the calm before the storm is now an overthought. 41 drivers with those 700 horsepower missiles ready to patrol around the racetrack. Jacob Reeves, if you do the math, 750 times 41, that's almost 31,000 horsepower ready to come to green flag at a moment's notice when we come to the start of the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I mean, really, I mean, that's the kind of horsepower right there that'll shake your ancestors. I mean, rattle your ancestors, I should say. And, I mean, that's a whole lot of horsepower, a whole lot of speed's going to happen here this afternoon when these cars get fired up and get ready to go. And, Wesley, we've talked about it, with storylines and certain drivers, to be able to try to get this and get that, get this, get that. Obviously, Denny Hamlin, 3-time winner, never won a NASCAR Cup Series championship. He would love to be able to do that. Obviously, that's later on in the season. Joey Logano would love to get him another Daytona 500 win. Obviously, Kyle Busch still looking for that very first win, try to get back up on the high horse, here with RCR and get back to his winning ways. But, so many storylines, a lot of things that we're going to be following. But if I had to pick a driver, to win this thing and possibly a dark horse, I mean, you gotta pick Kyle Busch. I mean, me personally, I would love to see it because honestly, he's worked his tail off to be able to get to that point. So I gotta go with Kyle Busch. And you know what, dark horse? I tell you what, give me Josh Berry. Josh Berry in the 21, he looked fantastic in the duels. Had that 21 up there at the front for a little bit, and then kind of got shuffled back just a little bit to where he ended up having a little bit of a bad spot. Back there, the 29th spot was where he's going to start. But Josh Berry was up front. That 21, Wood Brothers Ford knows how to get it done here at Daytona. That's my dark horse, Josh Berry.
Couple of preliminary continuing to take place here around the World Center of Racing. That is the Daytona International Speedway. And while we're doing that, let's give you the tell of the tape of what is this amazing layout for the 67th running of the Daytona 500. The racetrack is 2.5-mile tri-oval, 3.56-mile road course where they ran the Rolex 24. And in years past, during the COVID years, NASCAR itself also raced on the road course in the infield at Daytona. But this is the big speedway, built back in 1959, 2.5 miles, 4.023 kilometers. Banking at 31 degrees, 18 degrees at the start-finish line in the tri-oval, and 3 degrees on the back straightaway known as the super stretch. The front straightaway, again, a 3,800-foot, 1,200-meter long front straightaway tri-oval. The back stretch is 3,000 feet long, 910 meters. Oh, and by the way, Jacob Reeves, in the past, there used to be grass and turf. Not anymore. Down the apron on the back straightaway, it is now all paved. Pit road is 1,600 feet long, 50 feet wide, and of course, the track has a 4-story, 31-degree high bank curves. And that's a lot of stuff that we'll be talking about here tonight, no doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, and you mentioned all the way back in 1959. Folks, I wouldn't even thought of, to be honest with you. I wasn't even a glimpse in my daddy's mind. Hell, I don't even think he was. He wasn't even born at that time. But back in '59, that was when they had the photo finish with 3 of them coming across the line. And back in the day, they actually had to get that picture and had to find somebody that took that picture.
3 days later. 3 days later to determine the winner, and it was Lee Petty.
Yeah, they didn't even know who won it, and it ended up being Lee Petty after a fan had taken pictures of the finish and had it right there, and then they ended up giving it to Lee Petty. And just so many other historic things that have happened here with the Daytona 500. So many historic winners. It is the Super Bowl of stock car racing. It is the Super Bowl of motorsports. It is the great American racing. It is the granddaddy of them all, the Daytona 500. That's why we love this place.
Yeah, we love this place here in Daytona, as you mentioned, as the field is getting set. We talked about Elio Castroneves. Look at this guy. He's not even getting any purse money. He is taking a provisional starting spot, starting 41st in that Wendy's machine for Trackhouse. He is not getting purse money. He's not getting points. He just wants to race in the 500, Jacob. That's what it means to run in the Great American Race.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing about it. And if he was to win it, I think the purse is well over $1 million if you end up winning this thing. So if he was to win this thing, he may end up getting over with the car owners and everybody and be like, hey, I mean, I want a little bit of money out of that. I mean, come on, it's $1 over about $250,000. I mean, I won't care, but yeah, I mean, that's the big thing about it, because there's so many drivers that has, took shots and at least tried to win the Daytona 500 West Outland, but there's been a lot of drivers that has took so many shots just trying to get in and just to run in the Daytona 500. So, I mean, even though it's a provisional, a lot of fans have speculated on it throughout the, about a month on, a lot of controversy over it. But NASCAR's ruling makes it official, and Helio Castroneves will be racing in the Daytona 500. We'll see what he can make out of this opportunity.
And by the way, as we forementioned, the field is about ready to come to the green flag to start the 67th running of the Daytona 500. It is Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric on the front row. A purse for the 500, the biggest in history. Close to $31 million up for grabs throughout the 41-car field, minus Helio Castroneves. Briscoe and Cindric on the front row. Wallace and Jones making up row 2. Byron, Busher, Dylan Hamlin, Chastain, and Logano as we watch the Chevrolet SS Blazer pace vehicle storm onto the pit lane. Here comes the field down to the line. The Great American Race, the 67th edition of the Daytona 500 is green here in Daytona. We are racing, and the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season is officially underway as they rocket Jacob to you in turn 1.
And right on that bottom side, Briscoe is going to try to line up. He's going to try to get the shove from Bubba Wallace on the outside. Cindric trying to get a little bit of help, trying to get a little bit of a love tap. Shove him all the way up on the back straightaway with Eric Jones right behind him. Briscoe still leads. Bubba Wallace all over the back bumper, shoving Briscoe going into turn 3. Everybody in pace, foul formation at 190 mile an hour off turn 4.
It is Briscoe right now holding the line on the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody else in form coming to the line. The crowd beside themselves. One lap down, 199 to go. Stage 1 to lap 65. Briscoe leads them with Bubba Wallace in tandem as they go to 1.
Briscoe still down on the bottom side. Cindric up top. Wallace lined up right behind him, right behind them. You got William Byron lined up back there with Chris Buescher. You also got Ty Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano. That's the top 10 as everybody kind of being very calm, cool, collected as normal. But Briscoe gets a nose out ahead. Now the battle's on for second. It's Cindric and Wallace. Cindric up top. Wallace down on the bottom side off 3 and 4.
Everybody still side by side. It's going to be Briscoe can still hold on to the inside lane. By the way, the nice brightness has now got really dark around Daytona as the race rolls on in front of a sold-out crowd. 3 laps in now, working lap 3, 2 completed. Briscoe's Toyota over the Ford of Cindric. A couple of Toyotas behind Cindric of Wallace Jones. Byron, last year's winner in the top 5 as they go to 1.
Yeah, it could be a calm before the storm, as dark as the clouds are getting right there off the exit of turn number 2 and down the back chute. Briscoe still has that lead. Wallace down on the inside with Cindric up top. Jones tries to give Cindric a kick in the pants, try to shove him up through there. Wallace gets clear. Wallace may be looking to the outside. He jumps up. Briscoe jumps up. Wallace trying to go for the lead. Here coming to lap 4 off turn 4.
Remember, the key is obviously patience in this first start of the race, because you're not going to win it in the start of the event. Right now, it is Briscoe and Wallace. They're single file. Cindric right behind them as it stands. To the outside lane is now going to be Jones battling Byron. Now Cindric gets a push from Byron on the inside as they work into 1.
And they have to end up checking up a little bit because Wallace and Briscoe, the Toyotas, went from the bottom, jumped up to the top lane. So they're going to be occupying that spot right there in front of Cindric. On the bottom side, William Byron, last year's Daytona 500 winner, leading that inside lane with Ty Dillon, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, all of them lined up right behind them. Wallace can't get down this time. Here comes Byron on the inside. He's going to fire a shot coming off turn 4.
Here they come off the turn 4, back down to the tri-oval. That's 18 degrees into the tri-oval here at the start-finish line. Briscoe, Wallace, as now Blaney starts to make a push into the top 15, going after Elliott and Gilliland. Bell now sets his sights on John Hunter Nemechek, and Ross Chastain fires and loads on Cindric in 1.
Yeah, but watch out. We may have a battle for the lead, and it is brewing up. Byron down on the inside. Briscoe up top. Double B's on the front row here at Daytona. Wallace trying to get to the back bumper of Briscoe, but it's not going to pay off. Dillon wearing out. White Willie B shoves Byron up to the hill. Here comes Ty Dillon down to the inside. That number 10 looking very strong early on here in the Daytona 500.
Very strong car now as we watch and see what Ty Dillon can do. He gets up behind the back end of the Toyota Exalta Chevrolet of William Byron, last year's winner of the 500 on a Monday afternoon. It is Dillon now to the lead. He goes to the inside with a push by Ross Chastain. Byron up the racetrack now. He'll go up the hill and go to the top spot as they work their way in 2.
Yeah, look at 3 wide back there in the back, and you can't win this sucker in the first 150 laps, but you can sure lose it as they are 3 wide all over the place back there. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. back there in the middle of that. Ryan Preece back here in the middle of this. Michael McDowell back here. Kyle Busch trying to go for a Daytona 500 win in his 20th try. They are 3 wide and making a third lane off 4.
It is now Ty Dillon on the inside, got the preferred line on the double yellow line. Give Byron and Dillon the flip-flop spot. Now we see Cindric get a push from Logano, pushing up on the outside. A big shove with help also from the driver of Corey LaJoie. They're in the top 10. We're 3 wide already in lap 6.
Here comes Cindric. He's got a full head of steam. Logano lined up right behind him. Will Briscoe decide to jump up? Byron leading right in the middle lane. Dillon still down on the bottom side as it looks like they're going to try to make some movement. Briscoe tries to jump up. He tries to block Cindric. It kills the outside lane. They're going to slip back. That little bit of move by Briscoe killed the outside lane run.
Marking off a turn 4, it is now going to be Ty Dillon getting the lead back around from William Byron. Chastain now gets company from the pole man of Briscoe. Briscoe falls back in line to the middle lane for the top 5. Elliott now starting to climb up through the field to the top 15, as right now it is all Byron, the new leader. Winner last year, leading them here in Daytona.
Still watching that third line up there with Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, and a handful of others trying to make some moves up here and get going. Briscoe jumps up, puts the block on Cindric, tries to kill the outside lane, and it happens, but Logano going to wear out Cindric, give him the shove on the outside lane. Briscoe trying to kill this outside lane, doesn't want to go 3 wide this early on.
Right now, your top 10 as it stands, working lap number 8 of the race. William Byron up in front. Austin Cindric second. Chase Briscoe, Joey Logano, Ty Dillon, Wallace, LaJoie, Chastain, Jones, and Reddick, your top 10, as it's William Byron leading them back into the corner. He's in front. We're going to stick it 3 wide for just a moment as now Cindric gets out of the outside lane. Push from Corey LaJoie. It's Byron in the middle, and here comes Dillon on the bottom as they work 3.
Yeah, Dillon trying to see if he can line up and get something going on the inside, but most of the help is right there in the middle to the outside lane. Dillon still trying to get the shove. He's got Ross Chastain. Here comes Byron. Byron's going to jump down. He's going to try to close the door on them as here they come. Cindric off of turn number 4. He's trying to get a run.
Here they come. It's now Byron on the bottom of the racetrack. Behind them, 3 by 3 by 3. Working up the racetrack now. We got a caution on the racetrack. Yellow flag is waving here around the Daytona International Speedway. I got a feeling it is for weather. Weather in the area. Caution out on lap number 10. NASCAR has just confirmed it. Weather puts us under our first caution of the Daytona 500, Jacob Reeves.
Wow, unfortunate to see that. And they were looking good. I mean, it was looking good in the neighborhood. As you would say, Wesley Outland, that's exactly what it was looking like because they were getting 3 wide. They were getting antsy. They were fixing to make some moves, and guys starting to try to flip-flop and everything else. But, I mean, we saw the clouds. Clouds is getting dark big time over there around the turn 3 area. And looks like that is exactly right. I mean, hate to see that right there. Have us a caution right here because of weather.
understanding that there is sprinkling in the second turn, and that is the reason why NASCAR threw the caution for weather in turns 1 and 2. Weather in turns 1 and 2 is the reason why NASCAR has put the yellow flag out over the racetrack. And actually now, Jacob, you can start to see some sprinkles on our camera lens showing our video feed of the 500 in turns number 3 and 4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, literally, just rain everywhere, I guess you could say. And I'm actually looking out right there off of turn number 4 out there where that parking lot is. Some of them may end up having a bad time getting out unless they got four-wheel drive. If this sucker ends up coming into a monsoon, because some of them out there parked in the grass, so that'll be interesting for those guys later on. But right now, William Byron still has that lead. Looks like Briscoe's sitting right there in about the fourth spot, actually, is Austin Cindric, Ty Dillon, then Briscoe Legato, the top 5. But unfortunate to see. I mean, we was fixing to see some good stuff right there, and then unfortunately the rains come.
Yeah, they were getting 3 wide. It was getting really, really exciting, and then all of a sudden we saw the caution come out for the weather issues on the speedway. So, nonetheless, we did complete 9 laps. 10 laps now, 10 laps completed of 190 to go, of 200 the distance. We are in stage 1. Remember, stage 1 will take us all the way to lap 65. But with that being said, it is now weather affecting the 500. In 10 laps of the race, we are now starting to see it get a lot more foggy or cloudier to see the view of the cars on the back straightaway, Jacob Reeves.
Yeah, I mean, and odds are they'll probably end up maybe giving this a red flag. They'll probably end up pulling the cars down pit road and trying to see if they can wait this little rain shower out. From what I was looking like earlier, as far as the Weather Channel and all that stuff, I was looking at all that earlier, and it looks like it's just going to be a small, thin band. It's supposed to just shoot right across where Daytona International Speedway is, and then once it slides straight through there, it should end up just sliding right through. Give them, it'd probably give them maybe about an hour to go ahead, maybe get the track dried, everything else, and we should be.
Yeah, there's the weather. In real time, you can see it, and there it is right there. And I mentioned that weather when we came on the air just about an hour ago, it feels like. And you can see the weather is now working its way from Palm Coast and Pearson, D-Land, Deltona, and Daytona is right off of the ocean, obviously, off of the Atlantic on US 1 off 95. And Jacob, again, it looks like if it comes through, it's going to come through and be rather quickly, but we're going to have to keep an eye on it here. And, there's been times where literally I have seen weather be at one place and no weather nowhere else. And there's times where you think it's red and yellow and it's completely clear. So you never know what the weather's going to do. The weather has its mind of its own, but it does look like we possibly might be looking at a weather hold here. If you can look at the radar, you can see the yellow and the red and the green working its way in here, Jacob.
Yeah, unfortunately, and some of them actually look like to be some very strong storms right there with the yellow and the orange and all that. And folks, I'm not a weather person. I mean, I didn't go to school for nothing like that. But I will say this: green obviously is real easy. Red is get your beer and run. Pretty much is what it looks like. So some of it could be very, very hard downpours right here. So it'll be interesting to see that. But like you said, Wesley Outland, it should slide right through very, very quickly, and hopefully we'll be back to racing here very shortly.
We hope so. That is the hope. By the way, there's been 4 lead changes in the 500 so far, with 10 laps completed. Of course, Chase Briscoe led 4. And then, of course, also we have seen Ty Dillon, William Byron, and Austin Cindric lead some laps. 3 from Dillon, 3 from Byron, 1 for Austin Cindric, as we are under the yellow flag for weather in turns number 1 and 2. We're under the caution flag. We'll step away. More coverage from Daytona as weather puts us under caution for the first time 10 laps into the 67th running of the 2025 Great American Race, the Daytona 500.
The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation thrives on the strength of its global community of over 80,000 passionate fans united by a shared love of professional wrestling and a commitment to making a difference. While the foundation was founded to advocate for pediatric cancer awareness and mental health support, it has grown to champion and support multiple initiatives aimed at creating meaningful change in communities worldwide. Through dynamic fundraising events, awareness campaigns, and initiatives that foster connection, the foundation supports causes that uplift individuals and families in need. From empowering children and families facing significant challenges to creating opportunities for hope, healing, and progress. The Mania Club Champions of Hope Foundation is dedicated to being a force for good. This connected and compassionate community continues to inspire action and drive impact, ensuring that hope and support remain at the forefront of all its efforts. Donate today and join the cause at mcchamps.org.
We're back here at Daytona International Speedway, and as we figured, Jacob Reeves, the red flag, is now out over the racetrack as well. It is getting dark. It is getting windy. We got a feeling a thunderstorm's about to drop, and because of that, NASCAR has put the red flag over the Great American Race on lap number 10.
And as a driver, the ones that are really calm about change makes it a lot easier to deal with.
Jacob Reeves, are you there?
We're going to try to dial up William Byron. Last year's
Yes,
The
what's
redneck
Outland?
announcer. Yes, there
Yes.
you are. You're back with us. I was just saying that we're under the red flag, and obviously we got some weather coming in the area.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, obviously, Wesley. I mean, and sorry about that one right there. We got some renovations going on here in our home, but anyway, but there you see it right there. I mean, our producers actually said, yeah, go ahead and slap some wet weather tires
Not on
there.
super speedways, only short tracks.
It'd be interesting, but obviously, I mean, some of that is safety. But the thing is, though, Wesley, we're sitting there looking at it, and they're not saying that the drivers has got to get out of the cars. So, they're expecting this sucker right here to kind of jump through pretty quick right here. So, because if it was going to be a lengthy red flag, odds are they would have already told them, yeah, just get out of your cars, go ahead and just go get you a sandwich or whatever you got to do. But at this point, they're saying just keep them out of cars right now. So, hopefully the sucker will be done here very, very shortly.
Hopefully that will be the case, no doubt about it, as we are under a red flag here at the 500. Thanks for joining us on Motorsports Mania. Jacob Reeves, I'm Wesley Outland, Bigglesdean Hopton. You're looking in real time of us zooming in on the weather. We mentioned it as soon as we came on the air, Jacob Reeves, and that's the big fat elephant in the room. And obviously, we can't get around it as weather is interfering that hit here. And right now, it is causing havoc. I saw a post this morning from some buddies of mine that are down in Alabama and Mississippi, up in the panhandle of Florida. And they were like, this is the type of weather the system is going through. Jacob, I'm not going to lie to you, buddy. It's windy and raining and storming in North Carolina. So it's definitely been a nasty weekend. And every valiant effort I know is being made to try to get the 500 in. And even as early start time, right? I mean, they tried to start the race early by 45 minutes, and still 10 laps into it, they get affected from weather. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of people would have been actually, as we're seeing right there, Brandon Schumann right here.
Hey, Brandon.
This is the same rain that woke him up this morning. So, but yeah, I mean, that must have been. But, but a lot of people would sit there and kind of throw it back to the old DW. Darrell Waltrip, I'm referring to strategy of trying to get that vortex going, where the cars going around the track, get the vortex going to try to blow the rain out. That ain't going to work for this one. I mean, this isn't like a little pop-up rain shower right here, folks. This is the actual, looks like it's, pretty heavy little rainstorm that's going across Daytona right here. So, and to be honest with you, I'm happy, that they actually was able to see it this time and actually throw the caution when they needed to and go ahead and throw the red flag. Because if you think back to, I believe it was 2023 or 2022, 2022. That's when they ended up having the big old debacle over there in 1 and 2 where they didn't actually see it raining. I was in the grandstands. I felt it raining while they were still going around.
Yeah, that wasn't the Daytona 500. That was actually the Pepsi 400 or the Coke Zero 400 on a restart with under 3 or 4 laps to go, and that was actually the race that Austin Dillon won on a restart because, yes, you're exactly right. The track was completely wet. They drove off into the corner at full speed, and the next thing you know, the cars were just like in a standstill, and Rock'em Sock'em robots crashing into one another. But, that was definitely a monumental moment. And I think that's something that NASCAR does not want to happen for sure. Windy in Carolina, but it ain't raining. Well, at least it ain't raining where you're at, Brandon. It was raining where I was, or raining where I live. And, of course, they're talking about gusts of 30, 40 miles an hour as well. Well, this is not a good sign. Drivers are now climbing out of their race cars, Jacob Reeves. They are now having Kyle Busch. We see Kyle Busch on our monitor getting ready to climb out of the car. It's really frustrating that you get in your car, all the hype, all the excitement that leads to the 500, and then less than 10 laps later, you got to climb out of your car for a weather delay. We have to settle in here, batten down the hatches to see how long this weather delay will last.
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling. I mean, we saw it right there with a little bit of the Q weather and all that good stuff. We saw all that a while ago, so looks like we're just going to have to sit back, like I said a while ago, sit back, grab you a sandwich, get you something cold to drink, and just kind of just kick back and just see whatever they decide to let them get back into their race cars. Oh, boy,
and yeah, it is definitely got nasty now. You can see all the weather coming in there. They've actually just posted for people to exit the grandstands immediately. So on lap 11 of 200 in stage 1 of the 67th running of the Daytona 500, they have summoned everybody to exit the grandstands, seek shelter, if you will. Inclement weather is in the area. It is now imminent, and the frog washer has arrived, as my friend the late Ken Squire used to call it. And obviously, here is a look on Motorsports Mania of former winners of the Daytona 500. There it is over the years. The excitement of the Great American Race and the fall race. Well, I wouldn't say the fall. It's actually the Labor Day race, Jacob. It never disappoints, and here's some of the previous winners of that event, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you see it right there, obviously, with Ryan Blaney, obviously 2021, Michael McDowell. A defended Daytona 500 winner, Austin Cindric. There you see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We talked about him a while ago, back in 2023 when he got it done. Austin Dillon, that fall race I was talking about, where they had the big cluster over there off turn 2 with rain pouring and everything. I was at that race. Chris Buescher, I wasn't at that one, but I was there last year when Harrison Burton ended up getting that win. When you hear the big-time call by Lee Diffie, Jeff, your little boy has done it, and I'm not even going to try to do the Australian accent, Dean, so don't even try to get me to do it. But that was very, very special to see Harrison Burton get that win right there and lock himself into the playoffs, and helped the Wood brothers out big, and also helped himself out as well in his racing career as well.
Yeah, if a lot of people did not know, that was the 100th victory for the Wood Brothers. Wood Brothers Racing has been around as long as the Hatfields and McCoys, jokingly, of the NASCAR world. It has been a long, long time that the Wood Brothers, in some shape or form, have been a part of the of NASCAR and a part of Daytona. Matter of fact, you think back of 2011, and when, of course, Tyler Bain won the Daytona 500, driving for the Wood Brothers on his birthday of all times. Trevor Bain, the success. And obviously now the Motorcraft Quick Lane Ford driver duties of Hendersonville, Tennessee driver Josh Berry now. Most starts before a first Daytona 500 to win. There it is. Dale Earnhardt leads the way with 20. Kyle Busch right now with 20 as well. Buddy Baker has 18 before he won the 500. Darrell Waltrip with 17 before he won the Great American Race. In car 17, ironically, when he won in the tied car. Kurt Busch with 16, and the Allison family. Bobby Allison 15, David Pearson 15, and Michael Waltrip, Jacob, out of 462 starts with no wins. If you remember when he won the Daytona 500, driving for DEI and Earnhardt Incorporated in 2001, that was his 15th attempt at the 500 as well. So just some of the cool stats from Mr. Biggles, Dean Hopton, Jacob, behind the scenes to show the history of the 500. Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he is absolutely one of the best right there as far as the, producer. Honestly, one of the best producers I know, honestly, that is Biggles, Dean Hopton. But, yeah, I mean, Michael Waltrip won, after 462 starts. Obviously, it's been well documented. And, that was the same time that was the same time, where we lost Dale Earnhardt as well. So, very, very big day for Michael Waltrip, but also very tragic for him as well as everybody involved within the sport.
Well, this is not fun, but honestly, we have no other choice in the matter as it is falling a flood at Daytona right now. The weather is interfered. We're under a weather delay. They have asked people to exit the grandstands. 11 of 200 laps completed. And we are now under a weather delay at the Daytona 500. So what we are going to do on Motorsports Mania and CRN is we are going to have to cut it short for right now. There's no reason to ramble and talk about any and everything. There's really nothing going on, Jacob Reeves. And we will hopefully come back with the resumption of the Daytona 500 today, later this afternoon, maybe tonight, we're not sure. But one thing we know is right now we are under a weather delay, and we don't know how long it'll take until NASCAR can give us the call that we get cars back out on the racetrack, my friend.
Yeah, that'll be unfortunate right there. As we're also, they'll just have to look at the weather, just have to see what they got, and I don't know, man. Weather turns, weather can be a good thing, and certainly weather can be a bad thing. And it looks like we're actually getting the short end of the stick on this one right here. I hate to see it.
Being a pain in the tushy right now as we're trying to be PG-13 rated R. You're just not what the type of situation we want with the weather right now. Hey, listen, so before we go off the air, there you see the Doppler radar in real time from Daytona Beach, the weather, and right now current conditions are showing at Daytona International Speedway thunderstorms, 83 degrees. Right now, we're dealing with weather, it looks like, for the next 3-4 hours, according to the Weather Channel, from now until possibly 6 o'clock. That might make us have a late start, Jacob Reeves, or possibly, I got to think, maybe pushing it to tomorrow. And, they've done it before. I don't know if they want to do it again, but if they have to, they will. NASCAR has plan A, B, C, and D, and even E if need be.
Yeah, they try to get all the plans in that they can for all the for all the fans, all the drivers. They gotta have, they got plans 9 ways to Sunday, so we'll just have to see which plan they end up using. They tried plan A, which was to start the race at 2:30. Then they had to go to plan B, which, plan B would end up being, they had to push it back. And then we'll see what plan C, D, E, and hopefully they ain't got to go all the way to X. I mean, hopefully.
That's right.
But obviously I'm sure that they've got plans all the way through the alphabet.
Hey, by the way, don't forget Motorsports Mania is your new home for not only the NASCAR Cup Series, select NASCAR Truck Series, as well as IndyCar and Formula One. IndyCar and Formula One coming soon. Understanding now that the thunderstorms are cleared, or the weather is clearing, and they're trying to now get into track drying. So hopefully track drying will be successful. That is encouraging news, is what we're being told in the background. So hopefully we can be able to get these cars back on the racetrack, Jacob Reeves. Hey, listen, before we go off the air during this weather delay, just let you know where we stand right now. Lap 11 completed, 189 to go. Under the red flag with 14 minutes and 7 seconds in the Daytona 500 completed. The average speed, 145.506 miles an hour. The last lap speed, ironically, was at 66.008 miles an hour because of weather. Austin Cindric is the leader right now, leading the way. Ty Dillon is second. Chase Briscoe, the pole car, sits in third. Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, your top five. Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Michael McDowell, Todd Gilliland, and Chase Elliott, Jacob, right now, your top 10.
Absolutely. I was fixing to go down the lineup, as we're seeing right there with the rain and everything else. That's basically from what we're seeing on our end. But then you go all the way to 11th. You got Cole Custer. 12th is Justin Allgaier. 5th is 13th is Kyle Larson in the number 5. Ty Gibbs is 14th, with SVG Shea Van Gisbergen in 15th. Josh Berry 16th. Ryan Blaney 17th. Alex Bowman 18th. Martin Truex Jr. How about you, old boy, starting back there in the back? He's making some moves. He's up there at 19th with Zane Smith in 20th.
21st is Elio Castroneves. Boy, he flew through the field fast from the 41st starting position. He's in 21st. Justin Haley, 22nd. Brian Priest, 23rd. Brad Keselowski, 24th. And William Byron, 25th. Then it's Corey LaJoie, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, John Hunter Nemechek, and Eric Jones, your top 30 on lap number 10.
And then A.J. Allmendinger is 31st with Chris Buescher 32nd. Denny Hamlin slid all the way back, trying to miss out on maybe some big old chaos. He's back there at 33rd with Christopher Bell, his teammate, back there at 34th. Noah Gragson 35th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 36th, Daniel Suarez 37th, Cody Ware 38th, Riley Herbst 39th, and Double J, Jimmy Johnson is 40th. Carson Hocevar is in the 41st spot as well.
No, we are going to batten down the hatches on Motorsports Mania. Don't forget to subscribe and like. We're going to part ways for a moment, and we'll step away from Daytona. We'll give you an update as soon as we know something, and hopefully go back to the resumption of the Daytona 500, the 67th edition of the Great American Race, now under the red flag on lap number 10 here from Daytona International Speedway. With Jacob Reeves, I'm Wesley Outland. Thanks to Dean Hopton behind the scenes on production. We'll be back very shortly from Daytona to give you an update and hopefully the resumption of the Daytona 500 of 2025. here at Daytona International Speedway with an update on Motorsports Mania with the 67th running of the Daytona 500. Austin Cindric was up in front at the time of caution that is now turned into a red flag. And for those that are watching, you can see the monitor and the forecast looking to worsen more than improve. I know they were just saying they were optimistic they were going to bring out the jet dryers and try track drying, but now the weather forecast is showing weather until 5 or 6 o'clock this afternoon. So this is what we're going to do. No need for us to stay on the air to play elevator music or commercials or whatnot. We're going to part ways here on Motorsports Mania's coverage of the Daytona 500, and as soon as we get an update from NASCAR or the rumble of the cars to get back onto the racetrack, then we'll be back with you again on Motorsports Mania. Top 10 as it stands with 10 laps completed in the 67th running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Austin Cindric is in the lead. Ty Dillon is second. Chase Briscoe third. Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch in efforts of his 20th Daytona 500 start to try to win the race is in sixth. Austin Dillon seventh. Michael McDowell eighth. Todd Gilliland and Chase Elliott right now your top 10. So, for Jacob Reeves, I'm Wesley Outland. Finkelstein Hopton in the background on production. A yellow flag becomes a red flag for weather at the Daytona 500. We'll give you an update as soon as we know something from NASCAR from Daytona. Thanks for checking us out. And again, we'll be back very soon.